Ladies and gentlemen, is there maybe something different in this vlog? Because I filmed this vlog with the Lumix S5, Panasonic S5, and I filmed this in HDR mode, HLG, and I also filmed it in full HD in 50 frames per second. I think HDR content is the future. Maybe in the future of filmmaking is HDR 4K content everywhere, but not yet. And I think so HDR is, if you don't know what it is, it has more dynamic range than standard SDR. It can provide your image with richer colors, more content and more information in the highlights. HDR is the beautiful thing you can watch on today's movies via Netflix and everything. HDR looks pretty insane in my opinion, and let's see how this looks on YouTube. Yep, that's me. That's my camera. My life, the German Autobahn and me. Welcome to one of my favorite spots in Berlin and one of my favorite addictions, White Monster Energy. I am next to the old airport Tegel, where a lot of you maybe used to start and land from if you visited Berlin, but now you cannot more longer land or start on this airport because that airport is gone, and you can actually see that behind me. Oh no, you cannot actually see it, but that's a little construction site there. And I was definitely not, I repeat, I was definitely not with a drone here. I just found an SD card lying around here. So I think they're building at least one secret government underground facility down there, because the construction was actually started some months ago, and due to my research in construction, is it very, very possible that they're building a secret underground tunnel system, because Laut my calculations, must it be not so much earth and not so many not so many mountains of gravel there. I think they're building definitely something down there. So what's the point of shooting everything in HDR? HDR provides you with more information in the highlights. Your normal consumer camera can maybe portray up to 6 stops of dynamic range. That means dynamic range is what the camera can see from the darkest areas to the brightest area of the picture. A good ARRI or cinema camera or red camera, or I don't know, can portray up to or shoot up to 16 and more stops of dynamic range, or 15 plus stops of dynamic range. The Lumix S5 has also more than 14 or 15 stops of dynamic range, which is huge. The human eye can see 21, 22-ish stops of dynamic range, and that means if your camera can see more in dark and bright areas at the same time, the picture becomes more natural to your human eye. People say this. People say, okay, the picture is better if it has more dynamic range. And I think that's somehow true. That was also for me one of the most important aspects to buy a new camera, to have more dynamic range. And more dynamic range provides you only with more information in the highlights, not so much in the dark areas. That's a mathematical thing, because dark pixels have not so much information in it, or dark pictures have not so much information in it than bright pictures. Try to see the screen as a number of, as a lot of pixels with numbers. Maybe dark areas have lower numbers, and I think the brighter image parts have more numbers in it. And if you want to work with your picture, you can better work with high dynamic range pictures, and your picture has more information in it if it's brighter. You can test it by yourself. I mean, shoot some JPEGs with your camera and shoot some JPEGs which are very dark, outside, not much information in it, not with high ISO, only with some pretty dark pictures, and you see your JPEG has not so many megabytes than the JPEG which is on broad daylight outside, a tree with a lot of light and shadow information in it, and this JPEG will have much more megabytes than the darker image. Yes, and I think HDR can be a future, but HDR is so complicated to color grade. For me it's not so easy. HDR is not so common. You can shoot in HDR and film in HDR, but the color grading workflow is also for me very complicated right now, at this moment. Actually, is it like this, that these bird drones, these drone birds, figure out which people are suitable for the next generations of slave humans, and these humans become slaves for the A race, and they then work for these in these underground facilities, because the Earth is overpopulated and they want to put us all, maybe 85 or 90% of the population, in these underground FEMA facilities. So I want to master my camera. I want to know every bit of this Lumix S5. I want to understand how the vlog works, how I can color grade it. I want to know how the HDR works and what HLG is. And actually, I want to know every bit of this camera. Imagine knowing your camera like no other camera before. And if you can provide then good value to your customers. Imagine having a customer and providing them with some 4K HDR commercial videos. You remember when you bought your first HDR or 4K TV, you went to the shop, to Saturn or MediaMarkt or whatever, and you saw all these brilliant Costa Rica in HDR, Ultra HD or even 8K video, and you saw these brilliant videos. They are also shot in 60p or 50 frames per second or even more. And if you can provide your clients with this amazing quality, it must be insane for them. It must be so amazing for them to have such a good quality. And color grading HDR is not so easy, and I know all these videos on these high performance cameras are not capable of replicating this picture on the Lumix S5, or the Lumix S5 is not capable of replicating an ARRI or red camera cinema look, but I think you can try to reach that goal with that camera, at least a bit. And I want to know everything about this camera. I think to master a new camera takes almost a year for me. So that was it for this little vlog. I tested basically my camera's HDR capabilities, and we saw some of the bird drones and the underground facility of FEMA. That's pretty interesting, I think. I try now to color grade this footage and upload a nice video on YouTube. Subscribe to this German filmmaker from Berlin if you want to see more of my videos. See you in the next video. And subscribe that I can afford maybe some English classes. Bright image, color grading, dynamic range.